Because in the heart of Osaka Bay, Japan, lies a 747-sized cautionary tale of what happens when you try to defy gravity and the sea. Welcome, folks, to the Recap Podcast, the expansion of RCN's recap newsletter, where you know where reality capture stands, who's advancing it, and the history behind it. I'm your host and recap creator, Ellis Malmgren, but this podcast, as it matures, will be far from a solo act. There will be a revolving door of guests, some of them RCN folks, some of them relevant to stories we'll cover, and others who just own platinum brains you're sure to glean something from. There may be audio-only episodes, there could be exclusively video episodes, there could be holodeck episodes from Bermuda. Only time will tell. Of course, all that will be in addition to what'll just be an expanded version of the recap, the raddest, most captivating stories in reality capture and adjacent tech. And with that, the Recap Podcast, Episode 1 from Recap number 46, March 11, 2025. Sea legs, recappers, get 'em, because it's an ocean blue view this glorious recap day. We'll soon detail how a scanty iPhone can work reality capture wonders for whales, particularly for conservation. But there's no discussing whales and scanning without first discussing the leviathan of a 3D tale that occurred in Chile some 15 years ago. As construction workers widened the Pan-American Highway near the coastal town of Caldera, they uncovered what would become one of the most monumental fossil sites in the world, Cerro Ballena, or Whale Hill. An astonishing collection of marine fossils was revealed, along with over 40 rorquals, the cetacean family under which our contemporary blue, fin, and minke whales fall, were extinct marine creatures like the walrus-faced dolphin and aquatic sloth. Best yoga pose ever, by the way. This 5 to 9 million-year-old graveyard flummoxed paleontologists. How did so many marine mammals end up fossilized in what is now a desert, 40 meters above sea level? Well, meet Nicholas Piensen, anti-flummoxer and paleobiologist from the Smithsonian Institution, who arrived at the site in 2011. With construction deadlines looming, Piensen had limited time for traditional excavation methods. Recognizing the importance of preserving the site's context, he summoned 3D scanning experts from the Smithsonian's Digitization Program Office for something that had never been done before. The scans revealed that the whales were buried in 4 separate layers, suggesting multiple mass strandings over several thousand years. Researchers concluded that these events were likely caused by harmful algal blooms, which poisoned the whales and other marine life. The bodies were then washed onto a tidal flat and buried by sand. Voila! Preserved fossils. The 3D scans not only preserved the site, but also allowed anyone, anywhere to explore the fossils virtually. Additionally, some of the fossils were 3D printed for museum display. The first of their kind. Innovation. Breaching stagnation like whales breach water. And we got a 2025 version coming right up. Okay, what's Cappenin this week? iPhone whale scans bolster knowledge and conservation. African city planning looks to airborne scanning. AI and VR de-escalation training for police. The American Society of Civil Engineers awards a robotic bridge inspector, and an AEC Error of the Week of a structure sinking faster than Drake's career. In the show notes, you'll find links to some quick caps, where meta-peeps build photorealistic avatars from just a few selfies. AI is fixing to level up the gaming industry. Humanoid robots might soon be able to, reproduce. An interview on creating impact through geospatial and satellite Earth observation. The latest from Boston Dynamics. And photogrammetric magic leads to 3D printing of drone footage. And with that, ladies and gents, your first recap. Mobi-Dick. Smartphone capture, stranded marine life, and new necropsy knowledge. 6 of the 13 great whale species are officially endangered or vulnerable. Calling them important to the ecosystem is like calling makeup important to the Insane Clown Posse. Worse yet, there is a dearth of post-mortem knowledge due to the inaccessibility inherent to stranded whales and other marine mammals, and whatever knowledge may be attainable through a necropsy, autopsy is for us, what precedes it is often pricey. But one researcher isn't just technifying his way to a solution, he's simplifying, cheapening, and championing. Drawn to conservation, I am fascinated by how technology can help study and protect marine mammals, Brendan Cottrell of McGill University explains. And all he means by technology, by the way, is a measly iPhone 12, which he used to 3D scan and basically entrench himself as whale post-mortemer of the year. Kochell's zeal for LiDAR and photogrammetry scored him a sprawling interview with phys.org, exploring how his digital records enable precise, morphometric assessments and reanalysis without the physical carcass. Kochell emphasizes that anyone with a LiDAR-equipped smartphone and the right app can create 3D scans with some basic training. It's a blowhole revolution, particularly in remote areas, easing data collection and conservation at a fraction of the cost. Advantages over conventional measurements include the recording of complete bodily forms, anatomical features with their surrounding context, and external injuries, often from fishing gear-induced whale entanglement. Sheesh, what a bummer term. What are we doing? Did Free Willy teach us nothing? Boy, better yet, these perks are unhindered by the accessibility obstacles, time limitations, or environmental factors that define tradition. Such pristine, affordable models facilitate specimen and species comparisons while serving educational visualization and response training. Kochell's dream future? Research at large integrating 3D scanning with other imaging modalities like MRI and CT scans to create an even more exhaustive view of stranded marine mammals. Lastly, he tips his cap to open science, which has significantly benefited his research by relaying it to a global audience, improving data collection, and fostering collaboration in marine mammal conservation. Recap number 2. Natural disasters have made Africa's urban planning maddening. Aerial LiDAR is making it gladdening. Sadly, if you've seen how a moth is drawn to light, you've seen a metaphor for how catastrophic hydrometeorological events are drawn to Africa. Increasingly, floods and droughts end lives, fracture livelihoods, and stifle economic development. Africa's vulnerability is exacerbated by rapid urbanization and an enforcement of building standards that lags it. But there's a path to resilience being laid almost daily for city planners, with drone LiDAR doing the heavy lifting. SUAS's news recently highlighted the benefits of Africa's mobilizing of drones and DAR, refined data collection, environmental monitoring, and community engagement. Drones can rapidly collect high-res aerial imagery and topo data in hard-to-reach areas, while LiDAR provides precise elevation data crucial for understanding water flow and predicting flood behavior. Additionally, drone-derived imagery and visualizations can help citizens understand complex issues related to land use and disaster mitigation. Now, where SUAS's piece shines like the Sahara at dawn is the case studies. Kigali, Rwanda. UAVs were used to create detailed city maps, sharpening land management and cutting flood risks by 50%. In Tanzania, drone surveys helped identify flood-vulnerable areas, allowing local governments to optimize drainage investments and reduce flood incidents by 35%. Cape Town, South Africa, sure is seeing the forest for the trees. Drone tech identified over 1,000 hectares of land suitable for reforestation, contributing to flood management and carbon offset goals. Looking forward, integrating AI into drone data analysis could further augment the ability to predict natural disaster impacts and build defensively. Increased training programs will also empower more urban planners to utilize these technologies, all in the name of an enduring, beautiful Africa. Recap number 3. You have the right to remain silent and super calm thanks to this new AI VR de-escalation training. Stephen Ware, associate professor at the University of Kentucky, has a prolific background in games. He directs the university's Narrative Intelligence Lab, complementing his teaching of AI and game development. But his most recent start button pressed is more game theory. Human behavior, an AI-driven VR de-escalation training for law enforcement. It all began in 2022 when the National Science Foundation bestowed on Ware over $530,000 for his, quote, structured high-agency interactive narratives for virtual environments. 3 years later, it's ripping, with lieutenants praising it the way LLMs praise mediocre questions. The University of Kentucky Police Department has been actively involved in designing these simulations, drawing from their real-world experiences. Lieutenant Robert McPherson has lauded the system's ability to present unexpected challenges, forcing officers to think critically, decisively, and rapidly. Ware explains that the AI solves a complex game theory problem, maximizing positive outcomes while ensuring that officers grasp the consequences of eschewing best practices. Overall, Ware's research is at the forefront of using AI for storytelling and interactive training, with enormous potential to improve police training and other areas where decision-making under pressure is critical. And with his success, No wonder the University of Kentucky offers an AI certificate program for undergrads riveted by this field. Recap number 4. Truss, the process. American Society of Civil Engineers awards robotic bridge inspection system. And the Oscar goes to the birds. No, not the classic Hitchcock film. The Bridge Inspection Robot Deployment System birds. Oh, wait. Oh, and not the Academy Awards either, but better. The American Society of Civil Engineers 2025 Charles Pankow Award for Innovation. Birds has that transcendent combo of cool factor and dire need factor, as almost half of American bridges are over 50 years old. Not to mention the laborious, costly, often dangerous human inspections that reign supreme today. The award-winning bot crop was devised by Dr. Genda Chen of the Missouri University of Science and Technology. You get a hybrid UAV that clings to bridge girders and crawls to gather inspection data via infrared and LiDAR. A second UAV that releases a bike-like microscope-wielding crawler for steel assessments, and a third UAV equipped with a manipulator for maintenance and concrete defect testing. The next step for the BIRDS project will focus on continued iteration and partnerships with agencies and companies to expedite adoption. Because birds of an inspector detect together. The project, which launched in 2019, has received more than $1 million in funding from the U.S. Department of Transportation's University Transportation Centers program and matching sources. So, shouts out to USDT-UTCP. All right, recappers, the time's come for your AEC Error of the Week. Kansai International Airport in Japan, which has been dropping it like it's wet for 3 decades. Seppuku was the ancient samurai honor ritual of suicide through self-stabbing. Let's hope this airport isn't drawing out a modern rendition of it. Because in the heart of Osaka Bay, Japan, lies a 747-sized cautionary tale of what happens when you try to defy gravity and the sea. Kansai International, built on 2 artificial islands, is sinking faster than the Titanic if that iceberg was TNT-laced to boot. Since its opening in 1994, the airport has dipped a bewildering 38 feet, or over a foot per year for all you non-Euclids, and the sinking ain't even done yet, with experts predicting life under the sea by the 2050s if the ship doesn't right. The low blow began in 1987 at construction start. Engineers laid sand over the clay seabed and installed 2.2 million vertical pipes to create a dry and dense foundation. It was a feat, but perhaps they should have consulted the sea gods first. The airport was expected to settle evenly over 50 years, stabilizing at 13 feet above sea level. Instead, it's been a race against time, with the airport sinking faster than anticipated. The core issue: foundation volatility. 900 support columns with hydraulic jacks have been used to regulate the settling process, but it's a bit like trying to hold back a tide with a broken reed. Engineers have added iron plates and raised the seawall, but these measures are more band-aid than solution, making this quite the wait and see scenario. Reality capture tech during and after Kansai International's construction would have been greater than an all-you-can-eat sushi buffet after a month-long fast. Laser scanning and photogrammetry could have generated a detailed 3D model of the airport and its foundation, revealing potential weaknesses before they became critical. AI-powered simulations could have predicted the uneven settling and alerted engineers to the impending subsidence. Advanced metrology could have provided precise measurements and tracking of structural elements throughout the building process. A digital twin would have been exemplary prevention, a virtual replica evolving in real time as the physical airport settled, predicting stress points months before they appeared. Engineers could have watched their BIM models react to simulated scenarios, birthing continuous monitoring and predictive maintenance. In the end, Kansai International Airport stands as a testament to human ingenuity and the unpredictable nature of the sea. While reality capture might not have prevented the sinking entirely, it could have simplified the journey, creating a masterpiece not just constructed on the sea, but designed to live with it. That's episode 1, recappers. Be sure to check out the email or blog post linked in the show notes for those quick caps. Happy capturing, and we'll see you in next week's recap. If you liked what you just heard, a share will do the industry a built world of good.